Okay, hello YouTube. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the SA80 or L85 combat assault rifle of the British Army. This is only an airsoft version, it's not the real thing because in the UK we have very strict gun laws. I don't know that much about weapons, so if I do make any mistakes, please feel free to comment and correct me. I do like constructive criticism, even if you just want to tell me to fuck off, I don't really mind. I respect all opinions. I'll talk a little bit about the airsoft version of the weapon, and then I'm going to move on to talk about the main assault rifle itself used by the British Army. I've only got 8 minutes to do this, so I'm going to try and get on with it as quick as I can. Okay, so the good points about this rifle. Quite frankly, not many. It's small, compact, only about 700mm long, lightweight, very sturdy, with a metal barrel, making it very less prone to breaking. The only flimsy part of the rifle is this so-called ACOG scope on the top, which as you can see is not actually the real thing. It looks like the real thing, even the sighting system itself, but it's not magnified, as the real version is 4 times magnification. It's wildly inaccurate, even if you do adjust the hop-up and the sighting system, which is pants anyway. You're going to find it very difficult to hit anything. I've fired shot after shot trying to hit a person standing still and just missed. Either I'm a really shit shot or this rifle is just not cut out for the job. The side here, the magazine, you can see is at the back of the weapon. This enables a longer barrel in a shorter weapon so that it can be far more accurate and used in enclosed spaces, which is good for the British Army because they spend a lot of time doing room clearance and holding up in certain positions. At the back here, that is the so-called hop-up that's supposed to adjust the accuracy of the weapon. Might as well snap it off because it doesn't do anything. The front of the rifle has a good hand grip, and you see there, you can hold the hand in many different places to steady the rifle, and it tucks nicely into the shoulder. Safety catch is on the side of the rifle, just there. So now it's on safety, flick it off, it's on fire mode. The rifle itself takes 6mm ball bearings. It's painted in bright pearl blue colour because I'm not UCARA registered. It's to let the police know that if I go running around with this thing for some reason, then it's not a real firearm, it's an imitation firearm. If you are UCARA registered, you lucky bastards, you can buy this rifle in its original colours, which means most of the blue parts on this rifle will be painted green and brown or whatever colour you want, depending on your personal preference. If you're planning on taking this thing to airsoft, it's really not advisable considering it is a single shot spring rifle. So you have to cock the rifle every single time you fire a shot, which is not really good for airsoft because most people use automatic weapons, gas blowbacks or battery powered assault rifles. It can't even be complemented as a sniper rifle because of its inaccuracy. It's really not a weapon that you want to take to airsoft. It's good for plinking stuff in the back garden and back garden warfare, but in terms of the sport itself, not really high up there. Now I'm going to talk a bit about the actual assault rifle itself in terms of the British Army and how it's been used, changed, modified and serviced since the prototype in the 1980s. The first version of the SA80, the SA80 Mark I, was a bit of a disaster. It looked really good and in some cases it did perform very well. But the main problem that British soldiers had with it is when they took it into Afghanistan, sorry, my mistake, Kuwait and Iraq in the first Gulf War, the rifle consistently jammed. Because of the heat and the dust, the feeding mechanism was jammed, the magazines were made out of a weak metal so they got crushed, and they got jammed, and it's an endless list of mistakes. The rifle itself had too many moving parts for the soldier to effectively strip it down and repair it. If you imagine yourself in 50-degree heat with gloves on trying to put in tiny little screws whilst you're being shot at, you kind of get how difficult it is for a soldier to actually put his weapon back together and clean it at the same time. So the Mark II was created a few years afterwards, and with a lot of improvements on it. First of all, the magazine was made out of steel rather than the weak, flimsy metal the SA80 Mark I was constructed of. This enabled the magazine to be relatively strong. It couldn't be crushed, or very difficult to crush it or damage it, so the bullets, well, the rounds, sorry, were fed into the feeding mechanism quite comfortably. The other modification that they made to this rifle is they removed a lot of the moving parts in it. Made it a very simple rifle so that it could be stripped down, cleaned, and again unjammed if it did. They also changed the feeding mechanism, so the SA80 was capable of firing up to 12,000 rounds without a jam. The LSW, the longer barrel version consisting of a 900mm barrel, was one of the best guns ever manufactured by the British Army. It was very accurate up to 1,000 metres. Even the SA80 assault rifle is accurate up to 600 metres, and some recruits could hit targets up to 800 metres.